In 1830, a group of English textile workers smashed their looms with hammers. They called themselves the Luddites, and they believed with absolute certainty that machines would make human labor obsolete, that there would be no place left for them, that the future belonged to the machine and not to the person. They were wrong. Within a generation, the Industrial Revolution had created more jobs than it destroyed. Entirely new industries emerged that no one had imagined. The workers who adapted thrived. The ones who did not were left behind, not by the machines, but by the other workers who learned to use them. 200 years later, we are hearing the same fear with different vocabulary. AI will take your job. AI will make you obsolete. AI will replace human thinking itself. The fear is understandable, but the psychology behind it reveals something far more important than any prediction about technology. It reveals a pattern, a deeply human pattern, about how we respond to change, and why the response matters more than the change itself. Every major technological disruption in human history has triggered the same psychological response. The printing press, the steam engine, the assembly line, electricity, the internet. Each time the same fear, this one is different. This one will actually replace us. The fear is not irrational. It is rooted in a well-documented psychological phenomenon called loss aversion combined with status quo bias. Daniel Kahneman's research showed that humans feel potential losses roughly twice as intensely as equivalent gains. When you imagine AI taking your job, the emotional weight of that loss overwhelms any abstract consideration of new opportunities that might emerge. Your brain is also wired for what psychologists call negativity bias, a tendency to give more cognitive weight to threats than to opportunities. A 2024 study from the American Psychological Association found that when presented with balanced information about AI's impact on employment, both job losses and job creation, 73% of participants recalled the negative statistics with greater accuracy than the positive ones. This means your perception of the AI threat is almost certainly distorted, not because the changes are not real, but because your brain's threat detection system amplifies the dangers and mutes the possibilities. The takeaway, the fear you feel about AI is real, but it is not a reliable forecast of the future. It is an ancient alarm system firing in response to uncertainty. Acknowledge it. Then look at the actual data. The data tells a consistent story across every technological revolution. In the short term, specific jobs are disrupted. In the medium term, entirely new categories of work emerge. In the long term, human prosperity increases. When ATMs were introduced in the 1970s, everyone predicted the end of bank tellers. Instead, ATMs made it cheaper to operate bank branches, so banks opened more of them and hired more tellers in customer service roles. The number of bank tellers in the United States actually increased after ATMs were deployed. When spreadsheet software replaced manual bookkeepers in the 1980s, it did not eliminate accounting, it transformed it. Accountants who learned to use spreadsheets became dramatically more productive and valuable. The profession grew. When e-commerce threatened to destroy retail, it created an entirely new ecosystem. Logistics, digital marketing, user experience design, data analytics, employing millions of people in roles that did not exist a decade earlier. A 2025 report from the MIT Work of the Future Task Force examined historical employment data across 8 major technological transitions. In every case, net employment increased within 15 years of the disruption. The jobs changed, the skills changed. But the human capacity to adapt and find new ways to create value proved remarkably resilient. The takeaway, the question is not whether humans will adapt to AI. We will. The question is whether you, individually, will be among those who adapt early, or among those who resist until the window of opportunity narrows. In the 1980s, psychologist Carol Dweck at Stanford University identified 2 fundamental orientations people hold about their own abilities. Those with a fixed mindset believe their talents and intelligence are static. You either have it or you do not. Those with a growth mindset believe abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. Decades of research have shown that mindset is one of the most powerful predictors of how people respond to challenges, setbacks, and change. And the AI era is the ultimate test of mindset. A person with a fixed mindset looks at AI and thinks, my skills are what they are. If AI can do what I do, I am finished. There is nothing I can do about it. This leads to avoidance, denial, and eventually paralysis. A person with a growth mindset looks at AI and thinks, this is a new tool, I can learn to use it. I can develop new capabilities. The landscape is changing, and I can change with it. This leads to curiosity, experimentation, and adaptation. A 2024 study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology surveyed 2,300 knowledge workers about their attitudes toward AI adoption at work. Those who scored high on growth mindset measures were 3 times more likely to have proactively learned AI tools, 4 times more likely to report increased productivity, and significantly less likely to report anxiety about job security. The study's authors noted something crucial. The difference in outcomes was not driven by age, education level, or technical background. It was driven almost entirely by mindset. A 55-year-old with a growth mindset was more likely to successfully adopt AI tools than a 25-year-old with a fixed mindset. The takeaway: your mindset is not fixed. Dweck's entire body of work shows that mindsets can be changed through awareness and deliberate practice. If you catch yourself thinking, "I am not a tech person," or "I am too old for this," recognize that thought as a fixed mindset narrative, and consciously choose a different one. There is a conversation happening in boardrooms and think tanks around the world about which human skills will remain valuable in an AI-saturated economy. The consensus is remarkably clear, and remarkably encouraging. Emotional intelligence. The ability to read a room, sense unspoken tension, build trust, navigate conflict, and connect with other humans on a level that no algorithm can simulate. A 2023 report from the World Economic Forum listed emotional intelligence as the single most important workplace skill for the coming decade. Creative judgment. AI can generate 1,000 options. It cannot tell you which one is beautiful, which one will resonate with a specific audience, which one captures something true about the human experience. Creativity is not about producing output. It is about making choices that reflect taste, values, and understanding, qualities that emerge from lived human experience. Ethical reasoning. As AI systems become more powerful, the demand for humans who can navigate moral complexity, weigh competing values, and make principled decisions under uncertainty will only grow. AI can process data. It cannot carry moral responsibility. Complex relationship management. Sales, negotiation, leadership, mentorship, therapy, teaching. These are fundamentally human activities that depend on trust, empathy, and the kind of interpersonal attunement that arises from being relating to another conscious being. A 2025 McKinsey Global Institute analysis projected that by 2030, demand for social and emotional skills in the workplace would increase by 26%, while demand for routine cognitive skills would decrease by 15%. The future belongs not to the most technically skilled, but to the most deeply human. The takeaway: invest in the skills that make you irreplaceably human. Learn to communicate with clarity and empathy. Develop your ability to lead, to listen, to judge, and to connect. These are not soft skills. In the AI era, they are the hardest skills to automate, and therefore the most valuable. Understanding the psychology is important, but it means nothing without action. Here is a practical framework for positioning yourself in the AI era, grounded in what the research actually shows. First, learn the tools. Not to become a programmer. To become a fluent user. The people who will be displaced are not those who lack technical degrees. They are those who refuse to engage with the technology at all. Spend 30 minutes a day experimenting with AI tools in your field, not to replace your work, to augment it. Second, identify your unique value. What do you bring that no AI can replicate? It is almost certainly not your ability to process information or produce routine output. It is your judgment, your relationships, your domain intuition, your ability to understand what a client actually needs versus what they say they need. Double down on those capabilities. Third, become the bridge. In every organization, there is a gap between what AI can do and what the organization needs done. The people who can translate between human needs and AI capabilities, who understand both the technology and the people, will be the most valuable professionals in any industry. Fourth, build your adaptability muscle. A 2024 meta-analysis in the Annual Review of Psychology found that psychological flexibility, the ability to adjust your thinking and behavior in response to changing circumstances, was the single strongest predictor of career resilience across multiple industries and disruption types. Practice flexibility deliberately. Take on unfamiliar projects. Learn things outside your comfort zone. Treat discomfort as a signal that you are growing. The takeaway: adaptation is not a passive process. It is an active skill that can be trained, practiced, and developed. The people who start now will have a compounding advantage over those who wait. The title of this video contains a truth that is both sobering and liberating. AI will not replace you, but someone using AI will, if you let them. That is not a threat. It is an invitation. An invitation to engage with the most powerful tool humanity has ever created, not from a place of fear, but from a place of curiosity. Not as a victim of change, but as an architect of your own adaptation. Every generation has spaced its version of this moment: the loom, the engine, the computer, the internet. And every generation has produced people who clung to the old ways and people who stepped forward into the new ones. The technology was never the deciding factor. The psychology was. You are not being replaced, you are being asked to evolve. And if history is any guide, and psychology strongly suggests it is, the humans who choose to evolve will not just survive the AI era. They will define it. The machine is powerful, but it is not you, and it never will be.